Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Rasta President's channel. Today, I'm going to discuss with my friend Jameel from Mauritius. Jameel is a ganja activist, so I have to meet him. And today is a special day because today is the birthday of Kaya. He's a martyr from Mauritius. He's a Rasta man, reggae man, Sege man. You have to listen to Sege music. Those who don't know Sege, go and check out Kaya.
Yes.
And Kaya was a martyr. He died for the cause of ganja and Rasta. And Jamil continues the fight today.
Yes, not only me, but I'll just say good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are listening to us from. And yes, today is very special because it marks the birthday of Kaya, which Rasta President well explained that he's the creator of Sege music, which is a blend of Sega, which is the national music of Mauritius, and then mixing it with reggae, which is Sege, and Kaya gave birth to this. And Kaya is not only he's regarded as a Mauritian prophet, so he's someone which is very unique in the Mauritian culture. He's someone that brought the whole of Mauritius together, and this is one of the main dangers of Kaya, because Kaya was a unifier. He brought everybody together through his music, and I believe that the authorities saw the danger in Kaya, someone that could bring all the communities together. And yes, he was also the cannabis activist par excellence in Mauritius, and he lost his life, and he became a martyr because of the cause of cannabis. Yes, for sure.
He is not only a ganja activist,
Yeah.
activist, because activist for freedom, I would say, because I've seen a few videos and articles about Jamil. He's not only a ganja fighter, but there's many fights in Mauritius that he is a part of, and now he's having trouble.
Yes. Yeah.
How come? How come? Because I heard Mauritius was safe. Is it a safe place for you to be?
No, Mauritius is not as it's painted to be by what you think it is, like, what it is being sold as a holiday destination. Of course, on the holiday side, yes, we have beautiful beaches, we have amazing sunset, we have nature, we have very good hotels and services, and this definitely we have. But as for the Mauritian, is Mauritius safe? Yeah, it is safe if you're coming as on a holiday. Yes, it is safe, but is it safe for the Mauritian, and is it safe for the Mauritian fighting for justice? Definitely, it's not safe for anyone who wants to speak his mind, or to, let's say, there is no freedom of speech in Mauritius. So the minute you use your freedom of speech, then you become an enemy of the state. So this is where it becomes dangerous. So in Mauritius, if you want to remain silent and go about your life and not speak about the various injustices, then fine, you'll have a nice quiet life. But if you choose to speak out against the various injustices in Mauritius, which, like you rightly said, I'm not only a cannabis activist, I've also been doing on the activism front on many sides, including police brutality when a Mauritian citizen was tortured and killed while he was in detention. And we just spoke about Kaya today, and Kaya was also killed in detention, and I was locked up at the same jail Kaya was locked up, and he was in cell number 6. At one point they had to bring me down because when I was arrested and they put me at the Alcatraz, and this is when I was arrested again for activism. And this is when I had time to think about Kaya, because when I was sick in the jail, they brought me down, and when they brought me down to another cell, I was facing the cell where Kaya passed away, and Kaya passed away in very disturbing circumstances, and what happened after that. There was a riot in Mauritius, and from then on, there was no nothing, because Kaya died because he smoked a joint, right? So he smoked a joint at this concert, which I was there, and a few days later he was arrested, and many people smoked a joint that day. at that concert, the artist, as a form of defiance against the law. But when all these people were arrested, only Kaya said, yes, I smoked. The rest of them said, no, I didn't smoke. So he incriminated himself, and that shows Kaya, the rebel inside of Kaya. He was not someone like these other people who would say, you know, when the shove came to push, he said, no, I didn't smoke. You know, he said, no, I smoked. He stood defiant, and that cost him his life, and he died in Alcatraz in suspicious circumstances, and this caused a riot in Mauritius. And we still don't know who killed Kaya up to now. And today we have the same prime minister who sent me to Alcatraz, and we have the same prime minister who was prime minister when Kaya died. And, you know, I was imprisoned under the same prime minister. So anyone who stands against injustice, against the system, which is, let me tell you, the Mauritian system is two families that have held power for 57 years. This is not normal.
Only two families.
Only two families, right? The Jagnat family and the Ramglan family. So father and son, Prime Minister of Mauritius for 57 years. And I don't think you can call that a democracy. You know, it's une semblance of democracy, but it's not a real, it's like the stable, you know, it has the varnish of democracy, but underneath there's nothing which is democracy. I mean, all is centered within an all-powerful prime minister. It is the prime minister who designates anyone. So the chief of police, the commissioner of police, the commissioner of the NSS, whatever parastatal body there is in Mauritius, he decides who will be placed. So there's no democracy, there's no meritocracy in Mauritius. Definitely the Mauritian society is not a democratic or even I would say, free, fair, all society.
If I'm arrested with marijuana, what happens to me in Mauritius Island?
Well, like if you're arrested right now, if we look at the amendments that were made in December 2022 by the ex-government, if you're arrested with small amounts, which is not defined, what is a small amount? It has not been defined. But if you are arrested with a small amount, which means that you are not a dealer and there hasn't been any aggravated circumstance to your arrest, you didn't resist arrest, then the law says that you should not be criminalized and that you should be sent in front of a panel, and this panel, which is led by an ex-judge with social workers, and they will consider you someone who needs medical assistance and help rather than a criminal. So this is where the law is right now, like in Mauritius. But I haven't not heard of anyone going in front of that panel up to now, which exists. Now, the new government which just came in, they said we're going to decriminalize cannabis. But cannabis is already decriminalized in Mauritius since December 2022. Because it says clearly in the Dangerous Drugs Act that if you're arrested with a small amount and you're not a dealer, you should be considered like no criminal case should be made against you. And also the amendment made in 2022, December 2022, legalizes medical cannabis. So I think 420, which I'm the leader of 420, I'm the creator and the leader of 420, or the main person of 420 since the creation, which was in 2018. And the first pro-marijuana protest after the death of Kaya, some more than 20 years, was 420 when we protested in Port-Louis for the first time after this long silence, you know, after the death of Kaya, because the death of Kaya scared everybody, you know, like everybody, you know, I mean, this is it, had this fear of talking about cannabis. You know, the fear that if we talk about cannabis, we're going to end up like Kaya.
From what I've seen in your posts, you don't want to go back to Mauritius. Why is that?
Well, I can't go back to Mauritius because I'm someone who believes in freedom of speech, and I've been an activist in Mauritius for the past 25 years. And in the past 25 years, I've been arrested so many times. And like the first time I was arrested was because I used this freedom of speech. And I said to the then Prime Minister, who is now again the Prime Minister, I said that Mauritius don't belong to you, you know. And at that time, I was arrested because there was another artist who had been arrested, Nitin Chinian, who is a very famous Mauritian artist. And the reason I was arrested was because I was protesting for him to be freed from jail.
And why was he in jail?
Because he spoke against that same prime minister that I spoke against, right? So now like you must understand what's happening in Mauritius. Like like a democracy is not run by Mauritius. Mauritius is like it's actually like like a family business. And wherever you have a family business, you will have people that work for the family, the clan. So and when you have these kinds of things, there's favoritism, there's corruption, and also if you see the drug situation in Mauritius right now, right, this has been made worse by just having two families and their clan running, the police running everything. So this 57-year situation, political situation in Mauritius now is resulting in all this corruption, in all this drug trafficking, and in all this frustration that Mauritians have today in Mauritius, which is everything, whether you're talking about education, whether you're talking about public health, whether you're talking about the justice system, whether you're talking about cannabis, whether you're talking about corruption in the police. The whole island now is suffering this 57 years of being ruled by two families. That's what's happening. And now, if I go back to Mauritius, for sure I will be arrested because I cannot keep my mouth shut. And I know I've been there before. I've done this before. I will be arrested. Many charges will be placed against me, and then they will try to stop me from opening my mouth. So I know this. So the only thing I can do is to keep myself away from Mauritius and to keep fighting this way, from somewhere else where I'm safe, where I can talk, where I won't be arrested for speaking,
Okay,
for speaking my mind.
How come in Mauritius we have this plague of young people becoming zombies everywhere, a bit like in Mayotte, smoking synthetic chemicals.
Right.
What happened? Who is doing that? Is the government complicit or not? The police? What's going on there?
Okay, we need to look at it on different levels. First of all, the main reason that this synthetic drugs has gained so much grounds is because of the criminalization of cannabis. The criminalization of cannabis made cannabis scarce in Mauritius, and the scarcity drove the price up. So we're talking about something that was 5 rupees, which now is 4,000 rupees, so nearly $100 for a gram, right? So now people cannot afford to buy cannabis, and cannabis being so expensive. So this gave this huge market to this synthetic cannabis, which they marketed as at the beginning. They said, it's cannabis, but it's like synthetic cannabis, which it's not, right? Okay, so that's how it started. Now that has spread everywhere because cannabis, it takes time for cannabis plant to grow, and if we're criminalizing cannabis and we're leading a war on cannabis, then we'll be uprooting every cannabis there is, and we're going to be creating the scarcity on the market, and we're going to be driving the price up. So when we have a substitute, when we're talking about $100 for 1 gram of cannabis in Mauritius right now, and we're talking about a few rupees for 1 gram of synthetic. So people are going to synthetic drugs, and sadly, it is a poison. It is highly addictive. We don't even know what's constitute the cocktail that they use. So different traffickers will use different cocktails. I've heard of different things being mixed in it, like what called fentanyl, ketamine, even like over-the-counter drugs like olanzapine. So people are trying different cocktails, and we don't know what is in it, and we can't treat someone if we don't know what is in the drug they're using. So these people, they are right now, I mean, as you know, like the epidemic in Mauritius is everywhere. I mean, we have, I'm reported from people like my contacts in the health service, in the mental health service, are now telling me the children 10, 12, boys and girls who are coming in addicted to synthetic. We're having a load of crimes and murders, and where like a son kills his father, his mother, his grandmother for a few rupees to buy synthetic. Even where there's a police officer whom I know really well, Caporal Lapea, who is a gentleman. Who I've known him for many years. And he's a giant, but a police officer, but with a very special police officer. And his son killed him with a hammer to get money to buy drugs. Today, the Mauritius police force is completely what can I say, unequipped, outdated, untrained to fight such a thing. The corruption is rampant in the police force. Right now you see how many police officers, high-ranking police officers in Mauritius are being arrested with huge amount of money on their accounts, which they have tricked from instead of fighting drugs, they've been taking the reward money. So basically today Mauritius is at a point where we can't trust the police, we can't trust the government, and if people like me come out and talk and start fighting, then we are putting our life at risk. And when this is happening, I have this huge amount. Even I have a group like 420 Mauritius has a group of mothers where one of the mothers in our group, 3 of her sons are on synthetic cannabis, and she doesn't have food in her house. She said to me, like, I was cleaning my windows, I put my wedding ring on the table. In 2 minutes my wedding ring had disappeared. So wherever we look in Mauritius right now, this epidemic of synthetic drugs is there. In the schools, in the police, in the health service, everywhere people are smoking synthetic drugs, and people are going zombie, like you've seen in my videos. In public, people are passing out in public, people are in a state of intoxication in public, and this is against the law, but no one is reacting. So the police is not, we all know where the drugs is being sold. Hundreds of people are lining up in front of the dealer's house 24/7, but there's never any police retaliation against these drug dealers. So we know what is happening in Mauritius. We know Mauritius has 2 points of entry. There's the port and there's the airport. Mauritius is 2,000 square kilometers, which is a village. Right?
That should be easy.
It should be too easy to stop the drug situation. So I think this is where we know that there must be connivance between the police, certain politicians in power, and the drug traffickers, because we have seen it in the past. If we've looked at the drug commission, Lanchamlim or Ro, you will see how many police officers and how many people from the political realm were involved in drug trafficking, and still the same. And let me remind you of the Amsterdam boys, when 4 Mauritian MPs were catching a flight with 20 kilos of heroin in their bag and coming to Mauritius some years back, So we know that it is, the link is there, and we see that the government, the Prime Minister, either they don't know what to do, or they're deliberately not doing what should be done to eradicate drugs in Mauritius. Definitely, because like you said, like anyone who can listen to us, we're talking about 2,000 square kilometers, one island, all right, and with a population of 1.3 million. And if Bukele in El Salvador was able to clear the streets and bring a country with hundreds of murders per day to 0 murders per day in a country like El Salvador, it should be too easy to stop this drug epidemic in Mauritius. They don't want to do it because they're profiting from it. That's the main reason. But obviously, it's hard to prove.
So there is some profit from this synthetic drug?
I think it's huge profit because the precursors, the chemicals you're using are very cheap. They're legal. So a lot of them. Maybe there are some things are illegal, but like fentanyl, for example, only a small amount of fentanyl can make so much synthetic drugs. Because yes, it is very profitable. People are making a lot of money. Why? Because it's like crack. So if you buy 100 rupees now, in 5 minutes it's finished. You want to go and find another 100 rupees to buy. 100 rupees will soon be 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, because you get used to the drug.
So it's very addictive.
Very addictive. Very addictive.
Know that
yes, it's very addictive. Yeah. It's the most addictive. In fact, people that were using heroin are now not using heroin, are addicted to synthetic
Wow, okay,
drugs. It's that
that's
bad.
quite a
Yes. Yes.
hard drug.
It is very hard.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And this is happening in a lot of countries. It's happening all over Africa. You will find that in certain, it's epidemic like in Mauritius. But when we're looking at these other countries, they are huge countries, but Mauritius is only a small country. If you really want to clean it out, you can. You just need to do what needs to be done. Like, certain areas in Mauritius we all know has been selling drugs for 40 years. Several people are selling drugs in one area for 40 years, and
Nothing happened.
nothing happens. They can sell their drugs for 40 years, so I think we can do it. Yes.
You think the government is planning to legalize cannabis?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think so. Because I don't think the plan of the government is to, because if we legalize cannabis in Mauritius, it means the Mauritian, his life will be turned around by the economic growth of cannabis. You imagine today, les petits planteurs de l'île Maurice, the small planters. There are people that are being subsidized by the government, right?
Yeah.
Because they can't make their ends meet with their small plot of land and of, vegetables. But you imagine tomorrow, these petits planteurs, these small planters, now grow cannabis for industrial or recreational use, and if we legalize cannabis, you imagine the number of tourists are going to come to Mauritius and how our economy is going to grow. So if we legalize cannabis, we will enrich the Mauritian people. So like every house in Mauritius will become a hotel, because where will we keep all these people who want to visit Mauritius, the private sector will be able to engage into like medical cannabis hotels on the beach, for example. People want to come and follow 1 week, whatever, in a cannabis hotel. So we will also become a hub for medical cannabis, which Mauritius is already a medical hub, so it won't be difficult. But it will bring so much more funds to the economy. And also on the recreational side. So definitely, right, there'll be a lot of gains from people using it recreationally, industrially, to make various things that cannabis make. So if we do this, we are going to enrich the Mauritian people, and he will not have to go and beg the Prime Minister and the ministers, give me a license, give me a taxi license for me to feed my family, give me this, that, because this is how it is in Mauritius. So I have to come and work for the election, and then you're going to give me the thing. But it shouldn't be like this.
Yeah.
So they do not want the Mauritian people to be happy and rich. They want to keep the Mauritian people a slave. They want to make the Mauritian people suffer, right? And they will never legalize cannabis because of that, because then the Mauritian people will wash their hands with them, because they will have, today, this government just came in and put the retirement age at 65. But I'm saying if we legalize cannabis, we will put the retirement age at 55 in Mauritius, because we will be able to do it. And the amount of money we will have, we will be able to fund more schools, more hospitals, more programs to remove people from synthetic drugs. We will have this funding. We can look at other countries that, like, let's say, the state of Colorado. The state of Colorado raised so much tax money to fund hospitals, schools, sports facilities, even to remove people from harder drugs. So this will be the liberalization of Mauritius if we legalize cannabis, and it will be the end of the dinosaur dynasty in Mauritius, because the Mauritian people will be free from that political slavery that has been in power since independence, with two families running the country, and we will be free from all these repression. So legalizing cannabis means you're putting money directly in the hands of the Mauritian people, right?
Yeah.
And why do that? Because now you control them. You control them, and the people that are the richest in Mauritius are not the big businessmen. It's the two families that have held power for 57 years. They are the richest people in Mauritius, amongst the richest people in Mauritius. Now, how can that be possible? If you come as a prime minister to serve the people, and you become one of the richest people of the country. Obviously, there's something wrong here, all right? So let's make the people wealthy for now. So if we legalize cannabis, we're going to make the people wealthy. We're going to make the private sector more wealthy. We're going to have a more wealthy society. The police, we can use money to modernize the police, to give the police what they need to fight real criminals and real drugs and not cannabis. You know, I think that's the way it should go.
You see, here we are in Thailand. To me, it's a normal country. Cannabis is legalized. I think Thai people have the logic to do it here. It brings jobs. You have cannabis clinics. And this law of 2022 is very strange in Mauritius, the law you talked about, because it means if I'm arrested with cannabis, I go in front of a judge and he sends me to a doctor to give me medical treatment. They don't know ganja is a medicine already, and it cures so many stuff. It cures cancer. That's because ganja cures cancer that it was legalized. Maybe other reasons, but from what I heard, because I was there, is because ganja cured cancer that the government legalized cannabis in Thailand. I think these governments are playing the game of the big industries, the big pharma, New World Order, mafia. They just were not only in Mauritius but all over the Indian Ocean. I think they're playing this game. And that's why the young people are dying from these drugs. Ganja is not legalized. Medicine is forbidden. We talked about COVID the other day. They did not give the medicine for COVID.
Right.
Ganja is one of many medicines for COVID as well, for the flu.
Ganja cures a variety of illnesses, from small things to it helps with even cancer. It can help. I don't know if it cures cancer, but I haven't seen any research. But I know it helps people who are going through cancer and going through chemo and other things. That it helps people to eat, to relax, it helps them with their pain. So I mean, at the end of the day, ganja makes me happy. So why are you stopping me to take something which makes me happy? So you want me to just to sit down and be grumpy and to be in a bad mood and to fight with people? But this is what, I mean, governments, they are like evil institutions, these kind of governments that we have right now. If you want to serve the people, then the people will be happy. But some countries you have good governments, you have good governance. I'm not saying every country is like that. In fact, we should look up to countries that have that listen to the people. And you can, when you see the people, you see the people are happy. You talked about Thailand. Even Thailand. I mean, Thailand, you have several check of powers, but people are happy in Thailand. That's how I feel. People are happy, and you can live you can live quite modestly in Thailand, right? You can eat for cheap, right? You can eat for less than a lot of places in Asia. It's good food. It's hygienic, and the people are good. In certain countries you go, you fear for your life, but there are bad people everywhere. But Thailand, I think it's a very livable place, especially because they have also legalized the cannabis, which is a good thing for everybody, even for the police, because then it gives the police more time to fight crime, not to fight a plant. And I think there's a change of mentality which needs to happen. And why it's not happening in Africa, but it's because of our leaders, I mean, our leaders are like, what kind of leaders we have in Africa, all over Africa. So, and also it's because of the people. Because if you see what happened in Bangladesh, for example, right, when a prime minister holds power for so long, that out of 20, 15 years, when one prime minister is holding power, that there will be a backlash from the people at one point. So for the Mauritian people, I feel the same. People saying Mauritian people are no good for nothing, they're not doing anything, everything, like they're killing their children, not doing anything. But there's a danger in this. the more the silence lasts, it doesn't mean the people are not, going to react. The longer it lasts, that the backlash might be more violent. So this is what I'm worried for Mauritius. How long can the people be, at one point the volcano would explode, the pressure will come, so, and the longer we keep the pressure on the wrap, the more pressure will build up. And I don't want to find, like, my country, my island, in a place where, there's, which is turned upside down, because when there's injustice, when people can't buy food, when drug dealers are running the country everywhere, there's no security, you cannot trust the police, then we're moving towards a direction where there could be some kind of destability in the country. There could be some kind of backlash from the people, rioting and things like that. So the signs are there. And I think the good leader, the good politician will do what needs to be done for the people, right? Because first of all, if you want to go into politics, if you want to become a prime minister of your country, it's because you love your country and you love your people and you want your country to move forward and achieve. And I don't see that from the governments in my country. I see the opposite of that. Just a final word is, like, if you see, like, on my Facebook page, you'll find that the whole world is now waking up to legalize cannabis. The whole world. If you look at my page, it's not only Mauritian people, it's people from South America, from North America, even in places where it's legalized, in Asia, everywhere. And some of the people on my page, some countries half an hour from where we are right now, you will be like hanged for 500 grams of cannabis, only like half an hour flight from here. So I think the world is waking up, and I think we shouldn't stay silent, and we should keep on fighting. I mean, Kaya lost his life in this fight against cannabis,
Yes.
to legalize cannabis, and I think, like, we should not let this flame die. And Kaya reminds us of that he died for a plant. He died for a plant, but no, but he's not just a plant. He's not represented just by a plant.
Yeah.
He has many, many other things, but the main reason he died was because he smoked a joint. And no one has to die or go to jail or be arrested because they have smoked a joint. And I think that covers everything, especially on this special day of Kaya.
On this special day, yes.
Of
That's
his
true.
birthday, yes.
That's true. So thank you very much, Jameel.
Thanks, Rasta President.
Thank you. And my final words as Rasta President to the government in Mauritius: please legalize cannabis so I can come to your great country, your great island, to perform some great music with your great musicians. Perform Sege. I want to record a Sege album, but it's not legal. What can I do? What can I do? I don't feel really like welcome in a place. Cannabis is not legalized. I'm Rasta President. Come on. So I would love to come and play in your country, but first legalize cannabis and legalize reggae, because sometimes it's not legalized. Sometimes
Yes.
I heard some reggae festivals or concerts where strangely. So sometimes you make it legal. Sometimes reggae is legal. Sometimes reggae is not legal. It's very strange. This government, please do something.
Just a final word. You brought this up. A country is not the hotels. It's not the bands playing like mechanically at the hotels.
Yeah.
People come to Mauritius. People, like, even not Mauritius. I go to Thailand because I want to taste the food. I want to walk on the streets. I want to meet the people. I want to listen to the artists. And that's why I go to a country. We've been creating this McDonald tourism.
Yeah.
But people don't want a McDonald tourism. People want to come to a country to experience the country, the culture of the country. And, the sound of Kaya, Sege, and our artists, our, Shamarel, our nature, our people, our Dalpuri, our things like that. So I think, like, we should move into opening the country. The Mauritian culture is what people want. And that's what they want to experience in Mauritius. That's my final words on this, yeah. Well, thank you very much again. Thanks.
Thank you.